And this is Jackie. Hi Jackie, say hello. Now Jackie, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm going to do that typical vet interview where you keep moving because you're in the middle of your working day. Just be able to sit.
The Dunton bus.
Cat vaccines in the Dunton bus, yeah. Get back in. Oh, you need to
Run! Here we are.
Here we are.
Again. So then Jackie, how long have you been at Dunton for?
Since 2010. So I started at Dunton one Thursday, and it's Thursday today, afternoon in September, on the way back from dropping the kit off to a locum position that I'd been covering for somebody else at another practice, and they asked me to work in the afternoon, and I thought, well, why not? I've got time, I'll start doing the consults and seeing the patients, which I did. And then the following day they asked me if there was any possible chance I could come back and work again because they couldn't get a vet. So I went back on the Friday, saw all the patients, and then they said, can you come back on Monday? Which I did, and I've been back every day ever since.
Oh.
So it's now my practice, and we relocated from the old building that had been there for 55 years and moved to a purpose-built clinic. So we've
Which is
modernised
very
everything.
good.
Yeah, which is really nice. Apparently it's a cottage hospital, somebody said to me, that came for an interview.
No, not heard that one before.
No, they said it was a cottage hospital. And so why would you want to work at Dunton? Why would you want to work with me? Well, my most memorable interviews have been sitting in the car next to a vet, so I thought, why not do a live interview with me on the way back from a visit. I've worked in 8 practices since qualifying. My first practice was an equine and small animal role, which I loved, and then I went on maternity, perhaps a little too quickly for my first boss's intentions, but there we go. Jessica is now 18, and I'm also now mother of 2. Then I worked as a locum briefly for 6 months, because you didn't get maternity for 12 months back then. You had 6 months and then you were back at it. So I did 6 months just small animal locum work for a small animal practice in a village, and then I went back to work at my original practice, but that had been sold out. Was sold out to a hospital who had a large equine hospital and a very well-established small animal hospital with multiple sites. So I worked there briefly, gained a lot of experience from the first 3 practices I'd been in, but I was still had my heart set on equine work, so I moved and went to a lovely practice in Leamington Spa, where I worked for a couple of years, which was difficult with a young family and newly married and doing all the out of hours and all the small animal and all the equine, but that's what you did then. You just got on with it. So I used to do the out of hours on my own and the calls Lichfield and relocated back to near our first practice, and I took on a small animal only role with no out of hours. Whilst my daughter was very young, just became too much, and back then you were doing about 120 hours, not 40 hours a week. It was really really long hours, and so I went to a small animal role where I was part of, I think, 6 branches initially, and then possibly 8 branches after that. Sole charge in a small animal practice, working, gaining loads of experience, but again working for somebody else. So decided that I'd gained as much as I could in the little branch that I was at, so moved on. Went to do some locum work in another small animal practice, gained a lot of experience there. Also went and did about 6, maybe 12 months in another mixed practice where we were doing horse work again, and some farm animal work and hobby animals and small animal, and built that practice up, grew that practice, just as I'd done in the previous branches. Gained as much experience as I could, and then was locuming when I decided to pop into Dunton on the way back with the kids one day, and the rest is history. So I think after 8 practices, decided to set up on my own. I've never felt like I am working on my own. I always feel that I'm part of a veterinary community, and got great nurses, got a lovely clinic. I've taken all of the positives from all of the practices I've worked at and made it work as best we can to give everybody the best work experience they can have, really. So when we're at work, we work hard, but when we're not at work,
we party.
We party. So I think it's as good as it gets, and it's a great life, and we're doing very well, and the practice is very successful, but there is only me, and sadly we lost Clara, our Spanish assistant, 2.5 years ago now. She went back before COVID began, well, around Brexit as well, really, and Clara had worked with me for 3 years and was helping to grow the practice, and for personal reasons decided to go home to her family when her mum became ill. So I've been back on my own for the last 2 years, but now COVID is over, and today is the day we no longer have to wear masks in England. Woohoo! I think it's time for me to get either a new, what my old boss used to call, baby vet, or somebody that has got the experience but just isn't in that role where they feel that they can fulfill their potential and maximum earnings whilst also having a great work-life balance. So if you genuinely want a good work-life balance, where you can see the family or have a family, or I don't know, go water skiing or ice skating or hill walking or sailing or riding or whatever else you like doing, this is the place for you. Here we are back at Dunton. Anything else that you think they might want to ask me, Chloe?
What's your hobbies, Jackie?
My hobbies are
Riding.
riding,
Riding.
riding,
Riding.
riding, grooming horses, and watching the kids ride, competing. Yeah, like competing. Dressage, bit of show jumping for fun. Breeding, we have 4 brood mares on site. We've had our own foals this year. We will be doing the scanning ourselves. Yeah, drinking, gin.
Party! He likes a party.
Anything else that they might want to know?
Our beautiful clinic. Our beautiful clinic.
There's
Just
the
here.
building. Here we are, back at Dunton.
Lovely arena.
That's the indoor, yeah.
Stable, and the kennels just further down there.
Yeah.
That's it. That's us.
Bye for now.
Bye.